I'm at the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C., where the Code of Support Foundation has just dedicated what they call a living wall of honor to honor those who have served in post-9/11 military, as well as those who served at home and abroad during World War II. Now housed at the Women in Military Memorial at Arlington Cemetery, the wall contains thousands of flowers and was constructed with the help of over 300 volunteers, many of which came from Rocky Run Middle School.
My school is very involved with World War II veterans. Every year we put on a huge program where we bring in hundreds of veterans into our school to be interviewed by students. Essentially, they spend the entire day speaking to veterans from World War II up to the present. And it's great because they get an experience where they actually have a better understanding of what war really is. History is much better taught from the people who lived it than from those of us who studied it. A lot of the veterans, I think, World War II era in particular, are kind of getting to that point in their lives where they realize that if they don't share their stories, then the latest generation won't ever get those stories. We got in touch with General Salisbury to get some help with our program, and in return he had asked us for some help with his program. So we helped him to organize the essay contest and also got students to come out. And I think that the fact that they have the connection through our school with the veterans already really helped out a lot. They were excited to do whatever they could for veterans.
I'm really glad that a lot of people came out here to put together this living wall of honor. I feel proud and I'm patriotic about everything that's happened, and that now I can say that I did something for them and helped with the memorial.
To dedicate the Wall of Honor, as well as to kick off the annual Spirit of 45 Day, the Code of Support Foundation hosted 2 Rosie the Riveters to honor their civilian service during World War II.
I was a riveter on airplanes in Hagerstown, Maryland at Fairchild Industries. The planes I riveted were often called the flying boxcar because they transported everything from tanks and jeeps to supplies and even troops. I thoroughly enjoyed the work. I was needed. All of us were needed. This is not about being a hero. It's about doing the job that had to be done. We pulled together then, and I believe that every Rosie would be willing to pull together as I stand and do my part again.
I'm real proud to be called a Rosie the Riveter. When we heard that the war had broken out and they were calling for women to come forward, I never dreamed I'd even been in the workforce. I really didn't know what Rosie the Riveter was at that time. As people would discuss the work, we would say we work in the shop, we did this or we did that. I'm more appreciative now of what I did than I was then, because I didn't realize what we were really doing. Now I believe that I can almost draw a picture of the shop and the things that we did.
I really liked how they shared some of their stories, and I got to learn more about what a Rosie the Riveter is and what they had to do back then.
It's always great to get the women's point of view also, particularly from World War II, when these women had grown up in an era where, you know, their mothers had to fight for the right to vote, and all of a sudden they're stepping up to the line and they're holding down our country while all the men are going off to war. And I think it's a very powerful message, not just to the young girls today, but also to the boys. You know, it kind of shows them, hey, women can do it too.
The Rosies spoke not only to share their wartime stories, but also to share an important lesson with America's youth.
The greatest generation was definitely a generation that reshaped our nation, and it's a generation that came together. I guess that's the most important part, is that everybody had their role, everybody played their role, they all came together, they just set their differences aside. And I think that's something that today's generation really needs to learn. You know, they really need to learn how to just set their ideals, their politics, everything aside, and just come together as a country, come together as a people, and recognize that when all is said and done, we all have the same goal. And the legacy of Rosie the Riveter is essentially everybody can do their part, and it's your job to do your part. We can do it!
Freedom is very, very precious, but it cannot be protected alone. It takes working together, no matter where you're from, how old you are, or what makes you different. It is the work of all Americans to keep freedom alive. I am proud to be an American. I'm proud of what I've done, and I hope with all my heart that I can teach young Americans about this nation. It is my responsibility and also my privilege and my hope for this nation. And I thank you, everyone.
For newsashare.com, this is Joanna Sobieski reporting.